Hey everyone, we're going to take a few minutes today to go over some special announcements regarding our Client Appreciation Event Give Back for this year. As you know, last year we created some friendly competition internally amongst our employee owners to really breathe some new life into the give back portion of the event. You guys did an amazing job getting behind all of those efforts, and we wanted to do that again in 2025. So we're calling it season 2. You'll see some changes, some updates. There are some increased incentives for you, and we're just really all in all excited about the positive impact that we're going to be able to make this year. So with that, today in this call, here's our agenda. We're going to go over the give back itself. So for newer employee owners, we're going to explain what that is and why we do it and why we connect it to the Client Appreciation Event. We are going to go over a little bit about Granted and tell you who they are. They will be at our September staff meeting to share more. We have some goals for this year that are a little bit different than those we've set for the give back in previous years. So we'll talk about that. And then we'll dive right into the give back games and how that's going to work this year, how teams are going to work, and the incentives for you guys, both as teams and individuals. So what is the give back? If you're new to Keller Schrader or new to the Client Appreciation Event, each year we choose a local charitable organization. We work with them to determine what they might need the most. And then as employee owners and with our clients, we encourage them to make donations to that charity. That's been in the past lots of different organizations, most that you can think of in the area, quite honestly. We've done the Albion Fellows Bacon Center, Boys and Girls Club. Last year we did SWRCA. This is our 19th year for the Client Appreciation Event, and the list of charities is 16 long. So lots of ways that we've made a positive impact on our community with those organizations. And why do we do it? Why do we think this is an important element to the event? Well, first, Keller Schrader exists to make positive impacts in our communities. And we've heard Jeff say it very eloquently, that strong businesses cannot exist without strong communities. So we want to do everything that we can to infuse that way to support our community in as many activities as we can. It also provides an opportunity for us to really show clients that we do practice what we preach. It's not just a credo that we throw out there. We're actively involved in the community and finding ways that we can give back. And then also the Client Appreciation Event is very special. It's our way to really appreciate our clients, thank them for their partnership each year. It's fun. Everybody looks forward to it. But this give back piece really just adds another element to it that makes it even more meaningful each year. So, as you know, if you read the email that was sent out about a week or so ago, in 2025, we've chosen to support Granted. And we know that not all of you are quite familiar with Granted. You're not really sure who they are and what they do. And that's one of the elements that we liked about choosing this organization. It's always fun sometimes to be able to have the opportunity to educate people more on a great organization that's doing fantastic work in our community. So who is Granted? They were founded in 1985, so they've been around for a very long time. And what they do is provide once-in-a-lifetime experiences to area children who either have a terminal illness or a life-threatening condition. So you can think about, you're probably familiar with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. It's very similar to that in some ways, just locally. So they serve kiddos ages 3 to 18 who are in southern Indiana, southeastern Illinois, and western Kentucky. So they really cover a broad area. They also, which is a little bit different than Make-A-Wish, they don't want to just stop with the wish that they're able to grant these children. They really want to provide and support those families long after the wish is granted. So they have things like support groups, they have inclusive events, they have crisis resources, and more. So they're really, along with that family, they say once a granted family, always a granted family. So there's lots of ways that they're supporting people even beyond that wish. And here are some examples of the wishes that they've granted for kids. What they do is they ask them for their top 3 wishes, and then they work through with resources they have to try to make that come true in any way that they can. So you'll see lots of different ways that they've granted wishes in the past. They do a lot of Disney trips, so it's very similar to Make-A-Wish in that way, but they also do a lot of other cool things that leave it to a child's imagination to come up with. One of these kiddos, he signed as a Thunderbolt, the hockey team, local hockey team, for a day, like actually signed a contract, all the things. There's WrestleMania. The little girl on the left with the puppy, she just wanted a friend, and that's the way that they came up with to get her the friend. That was her wish. And then the little girl in the middle, when they told us this story, it really pulled at me. When they asked her at first for her first 3 wishes, all she said is, "I want heat for my house and a bed." So some of these kids aren't thinking through the most extravagant things. They're wanting some really basic things that would make their life better. And what Granted did in this situation is they did make sure that she had that bed, that hospital bed that she needed. They worked with a local company to make sure that they had the heat that they so desperately needed as well. But then they also took it a step further and really created her an awesome princess room. And there are some pictures online of it. It's really beautiful. They did a good job. They created her like a Cinderella carriage and really painted things. There are murals. She has a beautiful chandelier, and you'll see like the bedding that they even chose makes her feel like a princess. So they're really doing amazing work. Each wish costs around $5,000. So that's the average budget for them to make a wish come true. So coming in December of this year, actually, Granted is opening their House of Hope. And what this is going to be is a new location for them to serve and honor the current and future children in their families. That'll really be a spot for them to host and make happen those Beyond the Wish activities that we talked about. So the support groups and the events and those kind of things. It's also going to be a spot where they'll permanently honor the 100 plus kiddos that they've unfortunately lost along the way. They did share with us that typically about half of the children succumb to their terminal illnesses, which is a really sad situation, but it's hopeful that they're bringing them some comfort and joy, even if the outcome isn't so great always. And then they want to make sure that there's a place so they can help ensure that this program continues for years and years to come. And this location, they believe, is really going to help them expand programs. It's a lot more visibility, those kind of things. So what are we going to do as an organization to try to help? I'll be honest, it's a lot different for us. This year, we decided to change things up. And our goal for the event is going to be to raise enough funds to grant at least one wish. So that equates to $5,000. We would love to have more. So between our employee owners and our clients, we're hoping to raise enough money to grant a kiddo's wish. And it's important to really note, this is the first time that we focused on monetary giving only. We kind of tested the waters a little bit last year with Swerka and took in physical donations, so things off of the Amazon wish list plus monetary donations. But this year, we're going to just focus on monetary giving. Granted has an abundance of wishes that need to be granted, and it's their most urgent need. And that's a really big focus of the committee that chooses an organization and works through this process. We want to make sure that we are making the impact that the organization needs. And right now, the dollars are where they need it the most. And we think it's also a welcome change up from similar lists that we've gathered over the past couple of years. It seems like we've been kind of in a rinse and repeat cycle. We've worked with a lot of organizations that kind of need the same things. So the hygiene items and the food items, those kind of things. And we just wanted to look for this year a way that we could change that up just a little bit. So this is how we're going to do it. And that's where you come in. So the Give Back Games, as we mentioned at the top of this video, are back for season 2. We've changed things up quite significantly. We're going to have all new teams, all new rules, all new incentives. So we really looked at last year and the feedback that we received from you guys, plus that focus on monetary giving, and tried to think up some ways that we could change it up this year. So all new stuff. And here's the breakdown of how that's going to work. So employee owners, we've divided you into 8 cross-divisional teams. So more teams this year. That's double the teams that we had last year, but they'll be a little bit smaller. You're still going to work together to drive donations amongst the team. And then your team's going to have a chance to both collectively drive towards incentives for you as a group. And then there are also individual prizes and incentives. So we've got some challenges for each of those types of groups, we're hoping that really incentivizes you guys to get behind this cause and see if we can make that goal of granting a wish. Here are the team incentives and milestones. And I know that there is a ton on this slide, and I'll try to go slowly so that I can cover it all and then it's clear. But we'll make sure that you have this slide deck so that, and some other resources if you need to refer back to them later so that you have them. So what we've done this year is, rather than just straight focus on an overall monetary goal, we're going to focus on a few things. And you'll see these levels, we're calling them gates, that you can work with your team to unlock along the way. So level 1 is we want you to reach 75% team participation. So it's never been about who can open their wallets the most. It's who can really rally around the cause and work together. We want to see that camaraderie and that teamwork. So the first level that you need to do before you can qualify for any of this other stuff is to reach 75% of your team participating in the give back. And then after that, once you reach that, if you raise $400 as a team, we're going to provide lunch for your entire team. That's gate number 1. If you hit level 3 and you get to 100% team participation, we're going to give you a Keller Schrader swag pack, because I know some of you don't receive necessarily all of some of the cool Keller Schrader swag that we've had recently. Level 4, if you raise $800 as a team, you're going to get a $25 Snappy voucher. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Snappy, that's a really cool gifting site that we've used with clients the last couple of years, where you get to go in and it gives you a host of different items that you can choose. You can pick whatever resonates with you the most, or you need the most, or you think is the coolest. It's shipped directly to you. So it's really personalized to what you want. The $25 voucher, that's for every person on your team, along with that Keller Schrader swag pack. Every person on your team is going to receive that. And then if you raise $1,200, we'll work with you to schedule the team outing of your choice. Do you want to go for a happy hour? Do you want to go axe throwing or do something else as a group to kind of celebrate your achievement and how you were able to rally together to give back? We'll work with you to figure that out. So all of these things build on each other, and they are all available to all teams. It's not like one team that unlocks this and that's it. The rest of you are kind of out of your luck. No, every team has the ability to unlock these gates and work together to achieve these incentives. And then overall, the team who raises the most funds across the board, plus you have to reach that 75% participation to qualify, you're going to receive an extra vacation day. So every single one of you will get some extra time off as a thank you for working hard and helping us towards this goal. So in terms of individual challenges, up for grabs this year, we have right now 5 $100 Visa gift cards. Full disclosure, we are working with our vendor partners to try to up that number for everybody that is going to be there from the partner side to also donate a $100 gift card. So we could have as many as 12. I'll keep you updated on how many are up for grabs along the way as we solidify that. But right now, 5 people are going to win a $100 gift card. And for any of these activities listed, you're going to receive 1 entry. So if you make a donation of any kind, you're entered. If you update your email signature, you'll see an example on the right that we are going to send out some options where you can have a signature that calls out the give back specifically to encourage people. Send me an email, show me that you updated your email signature, and you'll get an entry for that. We're also going to this year try sharing just the give back piece of this event on social media to try to help drive those donations. So we've never done that before. We tend to keep the CAE, just the invitations, word of mouth, and via email and postcards, because it's meant specifically for clients and people that we already have partnerships with. But we're going to try sharing the give back piece to see what impact that makes. And then if you also have a client include your name with their donation, you're going to get another entry there, and I'll explain how you can do that here in a minute. So what's next? Here's what's going to happen. Give back teams, how we've broken you up, are going to be added to your own Microsoft team. We're not asking specific people to be specific captains this year. I'm going to take that lift off of you, and I'm going to create a Microsoft team for your team. We will share team standings and overall totals each Tuesday. You can see those via email. We'll have them on 1KS. We'll also have some signage and some other ways internally that are visual so you can see how we're progressing. And then social media posts will have that content ready, and it'll start next week so you can start sharing those to help us. Other key details, unless you specifically indicated, individual total amounts and the donor names are not going to be shared. So in that reporting, you're not going to see who and how much, only your team total and participation percentages. There are ways, and I'll show you in just a second, that you can make your donation anonymous on the page that we're donating from, but I'll get it in the reporting side just so that I can attribute that to your team total and your team participation. Team notes, like who sent you, those kind of things, have to be included with the donation at the time of donation for credit. So we don't really have a great way to go back and look, especially on the client side. So we'll want to make sure that that is there when the donation is made. And I'll share some details here in a minute about that. So speaking of teams, we went ahead and to take things one step further, we randomly assigned team silly names that are themed around granting wishes to all of the teams already. So you don't have to spend time with your team trying to decide who you are and what you're going to be called. I worked with my son, who is 8, to come up with some really kid-like names. They're all silly. They all don't mean a lot other than you are helping grant wishes. So you'll see these names associated with your team's channel, and that's where they came from. So remember also, we want to encourage friendly competition, some trash talk if it helps among some of the more competitive groups in the building, but it's meant to be fun. Like the ultimate focus isn't for us to win, it's to make a positive impact on Granite and the children that they serve. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we progress through this contest and in our give back season. So if you're ready to get started to help us make a dream come true, here are a couple of QR codes that you can use for that. The one on the top will send you to a Keller Schrader specific donation site that Granted has set up for us. And then they also have a Venmo account. So I know a lot of you used Venmo to kind of facilitate your donation purchases last year, but you can skip that step altogether and send it directly to Venmo if you want to, if that makes things easier. So for the donation site, here are a couple of things to keep in mind. Pretty self-explanatory until you get to number 4 in this list. When you open it and you're going through the donation process, you might not see where you can put in your information, like where you can put your name and email and all of that good stuff. So you'll want to scroll down. You'll see it once you start scrolling, but just in case you wonder where it is when you go to that site. On the contesting side, to ensure your team is credited, you want to be sure to include your team's name in the personal note field. So you'll see that when you're going through the information process. Personal note, that's where you're going to want to put your team name. And then if you prefer for your name not to show up, because on this donation site, there's going to be a list of most recent donations. If you don't want your name to show up there specifically, enter Keller Schrader Give Back in the recognition name if different from your name field. And you'll see that again in that list. You'll then want to put your team's name in the personal note, and how that will show up. We did some test donations. You'll see them in there. If you're poking around in the system, it'll show up like it does on the left. So it'll just say Keller Schrader Give Back, donated however much, and then it'll tell me what team we should attribute that to. Now I will be able to, for team percentage, and for individual incentives, I will get that information as a report from Granted, and that's where it will stay. So we still will not share exactly who and how much. Nobody will see that information unless you choose to make it visible on that site. For Venmo, a couple of tips that are very similar. You want to make sure for your team to be credited that you include your team's name in the note field that's there. So unlike the donation site, there are a couple of fields you have to work with. It's just straight up a note. You can put it in there. And then when you encourage clients to donate in the note field, we want to make sure that they're entering, and we'll communicate this with them, KS Give Back, and then their name and company. And then if they want to say that you sent them, they can put your name as well, or say so-and-so sent me. Now in Venmo, if your settings are set to where your exchanges are public, then those will show up in a donation list. If you have it turned off and it's on private, it won't. So they will send me a report to tell us who participated. But other than that, the public will not know who and how much donated there, as long as your settings are set up in that way. So that's how Give Back games are going to work in this season 2. We hope that you guys have a lot of fun along the way. We're really excited to see what we do collectively to help give back to Granite. We want to see that friendly competition, but we also want to remember that the focus here is ways that we can help bring joy to some kiddos that are really facing some tough things in their short time on earth so far. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have a client that has a question, also you can send them my way. I'd be happy to answer anything that comes up. And stay tuned for more information. You'll find it on 1KS, you'll find it in your email. And then again, those social media posts that we talked about will start next week. And in the coming, hours or so, you'll also be getting invitations to your teams for your team. So stay tuned for that. Thanks, everybody.